All right, cats. Right, I've got an interesting one tonight. A really interesting one. The other day, I was rambling on to you lot, well, to you too, about the fact that some of these wind farms and the windmills that are on them have got like 250 tonne of concrete poured into the bottom of them. And I was asking the question, how green is that? So I've done a bit of investigating, and apparently some of these wind farms, the big ones, have between 600 and 1,000 tonnes of concrete poured into the bottom of them. 600 to 1,000 tonnes of concrete in the bottom of each one. And you look out at these things across the countryside and you think, what? Now, I already know that sand has been an issue. Sand and its extraction has been an issue for a long time, 20 years. And these frigging things are taking 1,000 tonnes of concrete. Well, it takes an awful lot of sand to make concrete. An awful lot of sand. So concrete itself, across the planet, is responsible, you're waiting for this, the production of concrete, it's responsible for 8% of the CO2. Hang on now. Aren't the wind farms supposed to be stopping us producing the CO2? So they're not, are they? It's not up for debate. It's not a guess. I'm not causing a problem. I'm stating a fact. 8% of the CO2 in the air is from concrete. And we're pouring up to 1,000 tonnes of concrete into the base of every windmill. So next time you're driving down the coast of North Wales, have a look out into the sea there and have a look at the windmills. You can't bastard count them because there's that many. There are fucking hundreds of them. Hundreds and hundreds of them out there. But they don't make any CO2. No, they don't. Because it's already been created with 1,000 tonnes of concrete in each one that's holding the fucking things up. And that 600 to 1,000 tonnes actually is for land-based ones. Christ only knows what it's like when they're out in the sea, sat in sand with water around them all the time. Sky's the limit, I suppose, isn't it? Yeah, don't worry, sorry, I'm doing your head in now, aren't I? I'm actually reading down here while I'm talking to you about the temperatures that they need to get limestone up to in order to turn it into cement. And they need to get limestone up to 1,450 degrees C. I would imagine that takes a little bit of power to do that. So the limestone has to get to 1,450 degrees C in order to make the concrete that you need 1,000 tonnes of to pour into the deck after you've dug a bastard great hole, and then you pour the concrete in, and guess what that does to the ground? All the ground under it then warms up because the rain can't get through the ground anymore because there's 1,000 tonnes of concrete in the floor. It's getting good, this, isn't it? And then we've got the blades. Now, if you have a look online about the blades on these windmills, when these windmills come to the end of their life, because there's a particular huge wind farm that just came to the end of its life after 28 years. Needless to say, there's shitloads of them had collapsed before the 28 years. But there's a big wind farm, just they've started dismantling it up in Scotland. It's 28 years old, so I suppose it had a run, didn't it? It had a run. They say they give them a life of about 25 years, so okay, it's had a run, like, fair enough. And they're taking these things down. Of course, they can recycle the steel tubes, and they can recycle the motors, and just leave the fucking concrete where it is, because we're not going to touch that, lads. Fucking hell, we're not taking 1,000 tonnes of concrete out. But the blades. Guess what the blades are made out of? Fiberglass and resin. Fiberglass and resin. For anybody out there that's worked with fiberglass and resin, after it's performed its function for whatever you moulded it into, whatever you used, whatever you covered it with, after its function is over, it's fucking useless. And although they don't admit defeat, they haven't quite yet figured out how they're supposed to do away with the fiberglass and resin, because somehow or other they've got to separate it. Yeah, no, don't know how that one's going to work. So they came up with this brilliant idea. I tell you what, we won't bother separating it, lads. We'll just dig a fucking big hole and we'll stick all the blades in the hole. That's green, obviously, isn't it? That's really, really green. So by the year 2050, just let me look at me numbers. By the year 2050, there will be approximately 43 million tons of green windmill blades buried in the fucking ground because they don't know what else to do with it. Because it's fiberglass. And they say, oh, eventually it breaks down. What after how many decades? After how many decades? I know lads that are still sailing around in fiberglass boats that are 60 fucking years old. So it don't break down that fast, does it? So they're going to bury it in the ground. So does that mean they're going to dig up greenfield sites? Yeah, greenfield sites. Bury these bastard things in the ground and then cover them up. Well, surely that makes the greenfield site a brownfield site then, doesn't it? Doesn't it? The green agenda, to my mind, is a great idea. You know, it's a great idea. But you need to understand the pros and cons to something before you start jumping up and down like a fucking idiot, thinking, oh, wins the answer, wins the answer, wins the answer. Because along with wins the answer goes 1,000 tons of concrete, goes 450 degrees C. How that gets heated up, I don't know. Maybe it gets heated up by another fucking wind turbine, eh? No, probably by fucking gas or coal or something. It's the limestone up to 1,450 degrees C in order that you can turn the limestone into cement. And then you've got these blades, 43 million tons of them by 2050 that you can't recycle. They won't actually say you can't recycle them. They say things like, we're investigating our options. In other words, you can't fucking recycle them. They don't know what to do with them. So it's a shit idea. It doesn't fucking work. We're still getting CO2. We're just not getting it in the same way. We're still getting land destroyed. We're still getting land warmed up. We're still destroying fucking habitats. We've still got eyesore fucking great big wind farm things all over the place. And yes, I do live in the countryside, and no, I can't see a wind farm from my house, so I don't really give a fuck about that. But it doesn't make any sense, does it? It makes about as much sense as when they decided we weren't going to use coal-powered fire stations anymore. Whereas the Australians and company, they decided, you know what, we're not going to use coal-fired power stations, so what we're going to do is we're going to mothball them, and we're going to put all these windmills up, and we're going to see how it goes. And 10 years later, went, oh, fuck, that didn't work very well. Let's unmothball the coal-fired power stations. And what did our lot do? Said, no, we're not going to use coal-fired power stations, and fucking blew them up. Literally. Put a bomb onto them, blew them up, demolished them all. So you can't go backwards. You're fucked. You've had it. Chips are down. You have had it. So there's a brilliant idea. So they did that to the gas turbine places. They did it to coal-fired power stations. And now we've got these wonderful spinny windmill things all over the show. Just out of interest, I live in a fucking windmill. Yeah, a real one. A real one that used to grind corn. Yeah. To make flour. In fucking 1780. So why the fuck are we still putting up windmills in 2025? 17 fucking 80. And they abandoned that as a shit idea. This hasn't been a windmill, an operating windmill, since 1917. It's crazy, isn't it? But we've gone back to windmills. Windmills that do nothing but create CO2. Not directly, indirectly. And people just ignore that. Do you think people would be so keen if they realised that one of the most toxic, harmful fucking things you can create on this planet is concrete? It inhibits fucking everything. It causes problems every fucking where. It rapes and pillages sand. You need cement, so you've got to dig out billions of tons of limestone. So your sand's disappearing, your limestone's disappearing. It's fucking crazy. The amount of heat that you need, like I've said, to turn the limestone into cement 1,450 degrees. Can you fucking believe that? It's lunacy. It's fucking lunacy. Don't know where we're going. Don't know what we're doing. It makes no sense to me. It makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. There's a lot of things I could go on about batteries in cars now and all that, couldn't I? But loads of people go, oh, don't be slagging off battery-operated cars. You know what? Battery-operated cars seems like a great idea if you're going to use them in an inner city. But if you're going to be where I am, in the middle of fucking nowhere, battery-operated cars are not worth shite. It's hopeless. And then you look at how they're made. Everyone's shouting green, green, green. Stop and look how cobalt is extracted from the floor in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Have a look at how the cobalt is extracted, will you? And then tell me that's green. Tell me that's not hurting anyone. Anyway, create, stay sane. And I promise I won't be such a miserable bastard tomorrow. Well, maybe not anyway.